And hello, everybody. Welcome to Body Slam, the competition. This week, we are here to discuss a few fun things, I might say. We have a preview for Fastlane coming up next week, and we're going to boldly put our predictions out there, no matter how bad they may be. And we are going to discuss some things that happened this week. It was a very dull week for wrestling for the most part, but there was a few highlights to talk about and cover at least. You know what I'm talking about, Chuck. Very dull for the most part. I think SmackDown probably stood out a little bit more by a hair, but not by much.
I don't know. The main event this week wasn't bad either, though.
No, I mean, and then we got the era we're going to talk about that requires a little bit of attitude to speak on. Mr. Mike Currents himself, who just now rolled in, by the way, everybody. Just now rolled in.
Hey. Technical difficulties, man. Technical difficulties, We all have them from time to time.
Yeah, that's called a bullshit sandwich. That's what it was. You ate a bullshit sandwich, and it got stuck in your throat.
I'm sorry. I think what happened was that a mosquito flew all the way from New Jersey that had just bitten KJ. It bit me, and it infected me with whatever lameness that he has.
Yeah, right. You know what it's called? West Nile virus, you son of a bitch. That's what it is. It's the first sign.
It's the first sign. Me and Late's the first sign of it.
You only wish you was hung like that.
What? I only wish I was hung, period.
Well, from what I've heard, it is, but you are like a Siberian dwarf hamster.
Wow.
You could not be more generous, because I'm more like the standard American version, and we all know how that is. We're not talking Texas either. We're talking Ohio. Okay. Anyway.
Leave Texas out. Don't mess with Texas. So, Mike, we got the thing you want to talk about this week. We're going to cover the Attitude Era here in a little while. We're going to go ahead and catch up with the weekend review here first and see if we can get that out of the way. Shouldn't take too long, I'm sure. And then we're going to kind of jump into the Attitude Era a little bit. We'll go ahead and close the show out with our predictions for Fastlane and kind of bring up the card. It's not a very big card from what I can tell, unless they're adding more to it. I've only found 5 matches listed so far. So it's not a very big pay-per-view. They've got to have something else they're going to put on there. It's just not listed, I guess, as I can see. But we will get to that here shortly, though.
Well, let me recap. Let me recap Raw for everyone right now. It was a giant steaming pile of horse shit. All right, now we're done. Now we can move on to SmackDown.
Now, see, it's not quite that simple. See, we got to be a little more descriptive. A little more descriptive than that. I mean, not just a big old pile of what it was, but a little more descriptive. Actually, what really saved the show that week, I think, was Kevin Owens. He had a good opening for the show coming out there, basically. And then the thing with him going to face Sami Zayn, having Samoa Joe come down there and tear Sami Zayn apart and toss him in the ring.
That was good.
That's going to build up something big between Owens and Joe. But I wonder if they're going to have a match with them at Fastlane, just not listed yet. That's a possibility. That'd be something to have. I don't think they're going to wait all the way to WrestleMania and just debut that match, that feud at WrestleMania. They never have before waited that long for something, so I kind of have a feeling we're going to see a match between them two possibly at Fastlane as well. I just haven't found it yet. But that whole the whole Monday night thing, I didn't have a good feel for it. I mean, I thought the whole thing with the Club versus Roman Reigns for the second week in a row was pointless.
Which it's pointless. It's dumb.
Yeah, it served no purpose. Why not have them defending the belts? Why not have them doing something like that? Even if it's against somebody who's not even that is not going to win the belts. But they're just somebody they're facing for the belts. So make it a tag team match against someone else. Give someone else a chance, a little moment to shine on Raw, even though they may not win. Just put them out there like that. The whole 2-on-1 thing with Reigns is getting a little ridiculous. And, Chuck, one thing I do like, and I think you mentioned this once before, but how stupid it was how they were doing it. How stupid it was for Mick Foley to be looking so weak around Stephanie McMahon and looking like he's timid and he don't want to be on TV anymore or something. The fact that he is stepping up and giving Stephanie some attitude now and talking down to her and trying to put, Daddy's princess in her place. It's a feeling I got Monday, and I like that. I hope they continue that path for him.
It's going to be too little too late. Eventually, they're going to, people, unfortunately, they did that, I think, a little, they went on a little too long with it. And I think people, regardless of him stepping up, are now going like, I liked it. But let me just go back real quick to the club versus Roman Reigns.
Superman.
The thing that bothers me. Yeah, exactly, Superman, another Superman. The thing that bothers me is, you mean to tell me that it's an insult that your best tag team can't take down one man? Really? Really? With no real struggle?
No, wait a minute. That's one thing that really pissed me off, because when Gallows was Festus, if that bell rang, he would have just ripped Reigns in half and drank the blood from his writhing corpse.
Exactly. Exactly.
Where's Festus when you need him, huh?
Yeah, well, but that's the thing. So Festus and the Talented One, as I like to call the group, I really think that, regardless of how I feel about them, they're your tag team champs. And you mean to tell me that you're going to have this guy just over? Why are they? I don't understand why they are forcing. The WWE forces their people on us. They're okay, McMahon forces.
Do you know why? Do you know why, KJ? Because the WWE is like pro wrestling rape. They just rape you with their talent. It's like, here's this guy, you will love him. And if you don't love him, he will force his way into your bathroom while you're trying to fix your hair, and you will be forced to love him.
You know, one of the things they're doing right now, though, don't you? One of the things they're doing, and it's being talked about with the Reigns and Strowman match at Fastlane, is that you probably won't see a clean finish, and it'll probably be like one of those no contest type matches, because they don't want to end, they don't want to end Strowman's strong streak and how he looks, and plus they want to keep Reigns looking like a strong competitor for a possible chance at the Undertaker at WrestleMania. So they're having him 2-on-1 against the club, making him look strong still. That's the term, make him look strong.
But not only does he look.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Not only did he look strong, but Jesus, did you guys see him kip up? I mean, the dude kipped up. It's like there's like a quarter of a ton of humanity, and it just kipped up. I'm like,
oh, you're talking about Strowman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, that was something else, man. I sent you guys a message saying, did I just see him kick up off the mat?
Oh shit! I muted your messages. God, I can't take them anymore. Mike, please love me.
Listen to me. This is the thing. I saw two things in Austin, one of which, not Austin, we'll get to the one. Austin, Texas, 2 weeks ago, Roman Reigns won clean over Braun Strowman, and that pissed me off. And I know this has been said, oh, they're testing the waters, they're doing this. No. You don't do that. You don't show your hand like that. That's one. Two, I told you about this, that he chipped up about a month ago. Somebody had a live stream of it or whatever. When I saw that, it was not unlike the first time I saw a great white shark jump out of the water. I almost stood up. Like, that, he just kipped up like that. And when I saw him do it, I was like, there it is. And everybody's still talking about it. They're like, I had Tim Iverson going, oh my God, holy shit! Everybody was texting, oh my God, holy shit! Did you just see that? I'm like, I saw that about a month ago. And let me tell you something, I jumped up again because you saw it. Like, that man kips up like it was nothing. He didn't mess up. He did it one foul swoop. It was scary. That man is more talented than they're letting him be. That's the truth. And that match versus Big Show was not a bad match at all. It really wasn't. I was very surprised.
It was pretty good.
It was a decent match. Hey, ladies, I would like you to please guest of the evening, Mr. Matt Minnick.
What's going on, guys?
What?
What's going on?
What?
How you doing?
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? That's awesome. I haven't talked to that guy in so long, it's not even funny, right, Matt?
Well, he's probably got you blocked on Facebook.
I need
what?
you.
No, I was just talking to him. I just talked to him not but like 45 minutes to an hour ago. It's hilarious. But anyway. Oh, the E-Fed world. Anyway, but we're not talking about that.
I know, right? We're not talking about that. We're talking about real wrestling now.
What did you think about the Kip Up heard around the world, as I'm going to start referring to it now?
I gotta say, it was a very beautiful thing to see a guy, like you were saying, that was a quarter ton basically pop up off the ground like that. Whether, just off the physics of it. You have a mountain of a man. It's not like he's Shawn Michaels or AJ Styles. The dude's built like a giant, and to see him pop up like that is something you don't see every day. So it's always like, whoa, what the hell?
I would leave the ring. If I was wrestling, I'd leave the ring. I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm out. Like, I didn't know you could do that. Bye. Like, if that was, like, kind of real, I would be like, fuck you. I'm out.
No, look, I got one question about that kick-up he did. It's one question from you guys, and I don't want to say it happened, but it kind of felt like it did in a way. Did Big Show kind of help him up with it, though? It looks like he kind of pulled him up along with him kicking up as well. Did you get that feel?
Who cares?
It's still impressive looking. It is.
What does
it's still
it matter?
very impressive looking. But I mean,
honestly,
it looks like he got pulled up a lot.
I don't think so. Shorter, like 100 pounds less, and there's no way in hell I could do a kip up in my life.
I used to do a kip up, and then I took an Excedrin, and now it's gone. Fuck
there it is. See, that's the way it goes, man. You hit past 25, and you're just like, yep, I'm done.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it took me a long time to do that. A guy that size, I don't care, man. And you see him walk down the aisle, he doesn't move very well. Like his knees are bothering him. And here's a guy, you still need to have strength to pull yourself up regardless of who it is. Pull yourself up and tip up. Like, that's not easy regardless. And I'll take it. That's still scary to me. That's still the ability. Let me put it this way: if you put doubt in my mind or no doubt in my mind that you could kip up, I'm out. Like, okay, whatever. See you later. I don't care. I don't care if a crane pulls you up. You know what I mean?
What are you doing over there, KJ? Oh, I'm just packing some shit real quick. Don't mind me. Where'd KJ go? He just ran out of the ring.
See ya.
Pretty sure he just jumped on a plane. Pretty sure. Yep, he's gone. Yep.
Yeah. How did he get a plane ticket so quickly? Exactly.
Just the raw athletic ability of that keep up though is something that WWE needs to really keep capitalizing on. Like KJ was saying, having Roman beat him clean kind of helped show the hand, which sucks. And I do agree with KJ on that. It's just the aspect that, even with Roman continuously getting shoved down our throat, I mean, the guy is talented and he is getting better at promos as much as it shivers my spine to say that. But he's just a product of the machine. So, of course, the regular wrestling fans like, KJ, myself, and many, many others, we always like to root for the AJ Styles, the Kevin Owens, the more everyday type of guys. Because even with people like Strowman being as freakishly monstrous as they are, they don't relate to us on a personal aspect as fans because we don't look at them as a guy that we could just pass on the street. We look at them and it's like, holy hell, who the hell are you?
Hey, we're like, beef. Jesus Christ. Don't kill me, beef. Meanwhile, beef will pick you up and be like, hey, buddy, how are you? I used to be a rose petal. Or Rosebud, or whatever the hell they used to call it.
Rosebud, yeah.
You know what's really hilarious is my 4-year-old calls him Beef. So I can imagine that one day he will be at a live event, and he will walk by and he will yell, hey, Beef, and I will probably get killed.
Because I'll tell you what. Do you know how many people are yelling that? Because everybody's yelling Beef. All the internet wrestling, smarts are yelling Beef. The whole thing's on Beef. But anyway, that's beside the point. The thing is, I don't like that the WWE doesn't believe in surprises. Not really. They always tell people who's going to be on the card no matter what. They're always going to have people know behind the scenes. You do what you can. But there are no surprises. And I've said this before, I say it again. When Shane O'Mac came out, that was a surprise. But if you look at the crowd, there was Shane O'Mac signs. How the fuck do they know he was coming in? You understand what I mean? Like, that just bothers me. They put it right there. Why can't you put question mark, question mark, question mark? I want to be surprised. I want stuff to go down, and I never know what they're going to do. But the WWE can't do that. That's why they have to do it at house shows and this and that. What are you experimenting for? Well, we're going to experiment with this. Well, if you want to experiment with things, why don't you put Roman Reigns as a heel, you dummy? Why do you know what I mean? Like, they have no problems going, well, we're going to do whatever the fuck we want to do anyway. So then why do you care how Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman are going to get over? You know, how they're going to go over as far as the match. It just, shit like that bothers the fuck out of me.
Yeah. And, you know, here's the thing about the people who think that Roman can't be a heel. When he was in NXT, he played a heel. Before he got into the Shield thing, he played a heel with the whole suit gimmick. He can do it. It's just more of, I want to see how he's progressed now that he's been in the big leagues, per se, for the last few years, and see how that transitions for him. Do I think he can pull it off? I hope. Just to show that transition, because if we're never going to get Cena as a heel, we might as well have the next best thing.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not going to do it to Cena, which I understand, I get it. People are like, well, no. Merchandising with the kids, the what the hell is it, Make-A-Wish and all that other stuff, it makes sense. You mean to tell me that you're really selling a lot of Roman Reigns shirts and all this other stuff compared to Cena, compared to all the other, you know? And what about the kids? The kids are ambivalent to that guy. It's the soccer moms that wish that, you know, they had a dirty-looking pool boy, you know, fantasy going on. Shut up. I walk in, my wife's like, it's like, Roman Reigns is on, okay, I'll sit down. You know what I mean? Like, shut up. The guys don't, and the rest of the fans don't care. It just doesn't make sense to me. I think women would like the bad boy, and then you can move other people up to that position of being that top heel, not like Cena. It's just ridiculous to me. God, I hate people. Go ahead.
Well, wait a minute. Did you just basically tell us that your wife has the hots for Roman Reigns?
My wife pretty much has the hots for anyone not named Chuck Myers, okay? It's all good. It's called being married. We move on, okay? I know. She legitimately told me.
I haven't got to this point. I haven't got to this point in the marriage game yet because thank you, Jesus.
Well,
go ahead and tell us, buddy. Hey, Chuck, go ahead and tell us how many years. How many years?
I'm 6, but I've been on and off since high school with my wife. So trust me.
Well, good Lord, you thought she knew what she was getting when she signed that paper. Then I mean,
yeah, well, you know how it goes.
It's like you're like, hey baby, Roman's on hold. Let me stick some bounty on the couch before you sit down. I mean, good Lord, come on, Chuck.
Guys,
talking about the quicker picker upper. I mean, there.
Listen. I mean, please, are you kidding me? We have to send FEMA down there because she gets a little Katrina. You know what I mean?
Anyway. Oh my God. Oh my God. And the only reason I say and I laugh like I am right now is because it's the same way with my wife. Yes, she is a humongous Roman mark, and anytime he's on the TV, it's ooh, that's my ex-husband. He's sexy. See, she just said that's because he's sexy. Right there, boom, from the mouth of babes.
Oh, maybe my wife's just a closet lesbian or something. I don't know.
hey. No,
so you're saying that's not really hate for Alexa Bliss? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe it's
exactly.
not. I mean, a man can dream.
My wife can just be watching wrestling. She just yells, "Nerds!"
So she like Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds?
Nerds! Why do you watch that show?
All right, I'm going to start calling her Ogre then.
Oh, don't do that.
Make sure I'm out of the way.
Nerds!
Yeah, exactly.
You guys know what a perfect opportunity to go ahead and turn Roman heel again, right? The perfect opportunity to do it, because they've been saying they're going to build him up a little bit. They're going to change his wardrobe around a little bit. They're going to change his music finally, supposedly. This is all just what they all hearsay, but if they do it and they take the time frame they're saying they're going to do it, that rolls around right about WrestleMania time. And if it is true that he faces The Undertaker at WrestleMania, that would be the best heel turn opportunity right there he'll have in a long time, to just beat the ever-loving crap out of The Undertaker and leave him in the ring. I mean, you don't see that happening to The Undertaker. And you see him do that in front of the fans who love The Undertaker at WrestleMania especially. That would be a big heel turn for him right there if they could pull that off.
Oh, they should. It would be amazing. It would be amazing. That's what they should do. They screwed this kid, is what they did. He could have been big, but they screwed him. You know, it's funny because I'm watching the Fall of the Shield on WWE Network now. Only $9.99. Make sure you sign up, kids. Anyway, so the thing is, my son wanted to watch it, so I'm watching it. And I really, every time now, I'm done after a watch, I'm like, Sierra Hotel. And then I'm like, now I just hear his music. I'm like, why? Why did they just saddle him with, they made everybody else, like, do their own thing in the Shield, and this is a different story. So.
Well, gentlemen, I thank you for having me on. I got to get ready because I got to actually get ready for our work in the morning. I just wanted to call in and show support for you guys.
Well, we certainly appreciate it.
Matt.
No
Matt,
problem. I'll be sure to call in sometime soon, too.
You best.
All right, guys. Have a good night, okay?
You too. Have a good one, brother.
All right, bye-bye.
So what did you guys think about the tag team match they had Monday night? With Enzo and Cass getting the clean pin over Cesaro and Sheamus to move toward the number one contender spot.
The only problem, I did like Cass and Enzo when they first came in, and now it's starting to wane on me. They're funny and everything like that, but Enzo is always going to be the anchor of that, and not in a good way.
I was just getting ready to say this.
Down.
I was just getting ready to say the same thing, KJ, because for as good as Enzo is on the microphone, he is almost that bad in the ring.
Yeah,
I hate to agree with you guys because I'm a big Enzo and Cass fan. In a way, I like Enzo cracks me up with the smack talk. Mm-hmm. He needs to tone it back a little bit, though, with the smack talk because he's starting to be too repetitive with the same old. He either needs to come up with something new and run with it, or he needs to just cut back because there's too much of this, what do we have here bits. I mean, that's fine if he does it, what do we have here, but quit dropping that cup of haters bit every week. It was funny the first few weeks to me, but now that part is starting to just, all right, just stop for a minute. Say something, please say something different. And the chicken tenders thing. What's up with it? Everybody's chicken tenders to Enzo all of a sudden. His stuff is starting to get it's getting repetitive and some of it kind of weak.
Exactly. Well, it's got to be hard to come up with stuff, regardless of how good you are all the time. I mean, he's riffing a lot of the time. So to come up with stuff, it just falls flat. It's like every comedian; they expect you to be funny all the time. I mean, that's it. Why can't you have some serious times where you just come in, no serious stuff, no joking stuff, and they just go at it? And the thing is, he's botchamania waiting to happen every time when he's in the ring. That's one. Two, he's a small guy. He is small. There's such a height and size difference compared to all the other guys he wrestles. Even I venture to say him and Xavier Woods. Xavier's bigger than he is. I mean, not huge, but I mean he's bigger than he is. It just doesn't. It doesn't go over well. It's just not.
Is there another tag team that you can think of in the past that's been equivalent to them, where you got one guy so big and huge and the other guy so much smaller? I mean, that was a successful tag team.
No, not successful.
What?
That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting at, though. That was a successful tag team.
No, nobody's successful.
Yeah, nobody's successful.
I'm just not sure where they're going with it ultimately. I mean,
maybe Daniel Bryan and Kane. Team Hell No.
No, because Daniel Bryan was such an accomplished wrestler.
No, we're talking about
he can hold his own.
We're talking about
but the difference is Daniel Bryan can hold his own, like Chuck is saying. He could hold his own in the ring with anybody else that he fought there. I mean, you put Enzo in the ring against Kane or against Bray Wyatt, and what's he going to do? Not a whole lot. I like Enzo, but he's just not a great individual wrestler.
He needs more work. That's what he does. He needs more polish.
How much more? I mean, he was in NXT. Like, how much more is this kid going to, you know what I mean? Like, look, Daniel Bryan is an accomplished wrestler. Daniel Bryan, you can believe if he's kicking you, that shit hurts. You know what I mean? Like, he's kicking your legs. I don't care if you're the Big Show. You get kicked in the legs enough time, you're going to be like, ow, and go down. What the fuck does, I mean, can you even think of a move that he does by himself that's so destructive, Enzo? No.
He does that little dance. That little dance thing, that's kind of mesmerizing. I guess it would maybe stupefy. Yeah. It's the stupefier.
Yeah, exactly. Super
I don't think that's going to be dangerous enough to get him by for a victory one day, though. I think it's slowly but surely going the direction that you guys mentioned a few weeks ago. I think ultimately they're going to end up splitting that team up, and Big Cass will be on his own, and Enzo will just either be, I don't know, I mean, off somewhere else, or maybe they'll give him a role similar to Heyman where he gets to stick around with Big Cass and maybe do some talking, you know.
They might as well just send him to
his new client.
They might as well just send him to SmackDown and put him on commentary with the other 25 guys.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd be more entertaining listening to than the rest of them, probably, though, truth be known.
Him and what's the other guy? Morrow,
I believe.
Morrow.
Yeah. Those
Morrow
two.
Ronaldo.
Yeah, Mario. Yeah. Those two right there. Yeah, they could probably just hold it down between the two of them themselves, and the rest of the guys can go home, and Otunga can go do whatever the hell it is he does, and JBL can trip going back up the ramp or something.
and that Todd, whatever his name is, he can go and he can go get them. Yeah, he can go get them coffee.
Yeah.
So he gets to keep his job. Okay, that's it. But getting back to it is, I heard the strong rumor is they're getting the titles. That's what I heard. The strong rumor is that Enzo and Cass will have the titles.
Yeah, they're gonna put the titles on them. The question is, will it be at Fastlane or will they let it go to WrestleMania and give them that feel good WrestleMania moment? Which is it going to be?
WrestleMania.
At least
WrestleMania.
At Fastlane, you could put the club over at Fastlane, have them win, even if it's in an underhand kind of way, or if, say, Sheamus comes out still mad from last week and does something to cost them the match or something, because he feels they cost them the match the week before, I guess, or at Raw when they were facing whoever it was. I don't remember anymore. But that's what set the match with them last week. And plus, they ended Raw. Not Raw, I'm sorry. They ended their match on Raw with them in pretty bad fashion, with Enzo talking smack to him and catching that brogue kick straight to the side of the head. Now, that looked pretty vicious to me.
Oh, man, that was vicious. It was. Wow.
Yeah, he was like, I expected to see Chris Tucker hovering over him going, dude, you just got knocked out.
You got knocked the fuck out.
Get out of here, Chris Tucker.
That's not what it looked like. But I could see them losing at Fastlane either due to outside interference, maybe by Sheamus or something, or just some dirty underhand tactic or something that the club would do to make it that much more fulfilling for them to win at WrestleMania and get it there.
Yeah, something backfires. They go to do something backfires, and then they get pinned. But let me switch gears 2 seconds. Do you really think it's fair for Cesaro and Sheamus to be a transitional champion team? Because to be quite honest, I would have loved to see them have that title for a long time. I think they're exciting in the ring. You can let Sheamus do the talking, have Cesaro just kind of shut up, and but I think that they're amazing. It's not like the club are amazing talkers either. They're not.
Right.
They're not that. They don't have the greatest personalities.
But it's better than. I think they're better. I think the club are better than personality-wise than Sheamus and Cesaro.
I mean, they could throw a little comedy skit in with it as well, mix a little comedy in with their seriousness. I mean, and they got a little bit more than what you have to offer from Cesaro and Sheamus, just for the simple fact that Cesaro just does not have that, I don't know, man, that it thing for talking, I mean, it's just when you hear him talk, you don't want to listen. And when Sheamus talks, I don't want to listen a whole lot either, really, to be honest with you, but I will listen to him more than when I listen to Cesaro. And I love Cesaro as a wrestler. It's great. I like watching them in the ring. And what you're talking about, is it fair for them? Probably not so fair, but I think they found themselves in a conundrum here because they brought in the club and it was a popular thing. They brought the club in because a lot of people like the whole thing about the Bullet Club in Japan and everything. Now that WWE's got, part of the Bullet Club being with them two and AJ Styles, they're split up, but still, they need to put the belts on them. They're thinking, we got the club here. The fans want to see them with some belts. Well, now you've got the New Day, though, doing the longest running thing that they did. So you got to keep it on them for a while. And now you've got Sheamus and Cesaro, definitely worthy. And they should have them. They should keep them for a while, but at the same time, you keep putting the other guys further to the back that you want to bring up to the front a little bit. That's going to be your new tough guy tag team or something, and you're not bringing them up to the forefront like that and putting the belts on them. Eventually, they got to get them, and you got to make everybody else chase them again. So the question really is, will Cesaro and Sheamus get back in the tag team title hunt if Enzo and Cass win it at WrestleMania? Will that put the club back toward the back burner a little bit? Not necessarily in the back burner, but out of that title scene immediately and bring the other two you're talking about back into face, Enzo and Cass, because they had just some good matches together.
Yeah, you know what's weird? I wouldn't mind them kind of exchanging the titles a little quicker until somebody finally kind of leads the charge. And the reason why I say that is because I don't think the Bullet Club, they're not marketable. Who's going to buy their shit? Smart fans? So you give the smarts what they want. So what?
The people that's going to buy their stuff is going to be the heel fans, mostly. And it depends on what kind of stuff you make with them. It's got to be a shirt that looks like that classic Bullet Club logo with the skull and crossbone kind of deal thing or something, maybe something hinting toward Bullet Club, but don't say Bullet Club, but it's still the club.
I would also like to add that it also depends on what they do with Finn Balor when he comes back.
Yes,
That's a good point.
Because if they start the Balor Club, it's going to take off like wildfire.
Well, that's a whole different situation. The problem is, in and of themselves, the club just I don't think they have any momentum, and I don't think that I don't see it. I know everybody sees it in Japan. I've seen them in Japan. I've watched their shit. I don't see it, man. I don't see the appeal of these guys other than they were in the Bullet Club. So what? Somebody like Kenny Omega comes in, I totally see it. Somebody like AJ Styles came in from the Bullet Club, I see it. I don't see it with them here.
Would you have seen it more if it was the Young Bucks instead of the club? Well, we'll call them the club because that's what they call them. But would you have seen it more out of the Young Bucks, you think?
Yes, because the Young Bucks are exciting. The Young Bucks are exciting. They're smartasses. They have personalities. They have great personalities. They can get it done. Whether they be heel or whether it would be great. Now, do I think that they belong at the WWE now? No. I don't think that people would get that. It's ironic because, yes, they would do better by the same token. I don't know that it would transfer as well. They'd still be great, but they still wouldn't be the Young Bucks. Plus, does everybody want to see a super kick party? I'm so sick. I am sick, ironically, of seeing super kick parties. I'm dead. Or super kicks in general, because now everything's a super kick. Everything.
Mike, you brought this up a little while ago.
It's not. You know what I mean?
The whole super kick deal. The whole super kick thing. Everybody has a super kick, and they try to make it look devastating. It's just not because everybody does it. They ruined that part.
And nobody does it devastatingly anymore. There's no, the Sweet Chin Music was probably the last devastating super kick because there was the build up, there was the pause for it, and when Michaels would hit it, it would just look perfect and sound perfect and perfect.
God. It was always on, he messed up a few times, but on point, just on point. And it was like for Shawn Michaels was like the RKO. He could hit it from anywhere. He could hit it from anywhere.
Right.
ahead, I'm sorry.
And now you got guys like Rusev doing it who look like that they're, jumping because they saw a spider.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a super kick.
Oh, that is so funny because I just pictured him doing it. Oh, man.
And back in the day, I do believe Yokozuna had a super kick. And,
yeah.
Well, yeah.
And it was pretty devastating.
It was more like a standing sidekick than anything.
Well, it was more like he lifted up his half-a-ton leg and passed some flatulence, and it rippled down his massive thigh to his end of his foot.
Hey, you better figure something out right now about Yokozuna. The one thing you have to say is that man could move for his size. That man could move.
When he first came in, he could, but the bigger he got, it was pretty bad. By the time he left even the WWF at the time, he was really, really horrible. And you have to admit that. He was huge.
Okay.
He had gained hundreds of pounds from when he debuted. When he debuted, the dude was phenomenal. He could move. He was big. I thought his ankles were going to break because his ankles were so tiny. His feet looked like, Chinese, foot binding torture had happened to him in a young age. And then he had like 3 tons of body supported by these 2 little ballpoint pens. Now, I just thought, this dude's ankles are going to break at any time. But they never did. And he moved like, oh my God, he moved.
Yeah. And you believe it.
He moved until he hit like, 500, 550 pounds, 450, 550, something like that. Then you looked at him and said, okay, now he's moving like the Blob from Outer Space in the 1950s movie. It's just, is he walking? Is he rolling? We can't really tell. It's bad.
No, you're right. But let's get back to the super kick. The thing is now everything's a super kick. Everything. You know what I mean? Somebody's on the knees, super kick. Alberto Del Rio was doing super kicks. Mm-hmm. Super kick to the face. You know what I mean? Like everything. And we all know that Dolph Ziggler is all about, Shawn Michaels. So what does he do? He does a super kick. And listen, if you're doing a super kick and you land it, and it's a signature move, and you go for the pin, I know, and the guy back of me knows that you're drunk, is that you're not getting the pin for that. You know what I mean? Like, we know that he goes for the pin into the kick out. It's just ridiculous, dude. Don't use it. Stop with it. I never thought I would say this. Stop with the super kicks. I would say that about the power bomb. I love power bombs. I can watch power bombs all day. But super kicks are not. Power bombs are I just don't like it where people kick out of power bombs. If it's a destructive power bomb, you should get up for it. You know what I mean?
It depends on the type of power bomb. There's so many different types. The spin out power bomb isn't really that devastating. It's not
that big either.
It's the pop-up power bomb. I do not understand. It is a move that I do not understand in any way, shape, or form. It was just like, hey, Kevin Owens, do this move. It's really, really bad, but people will like it if you do it.
That's all right. Well, okay, so let me ask you a question. Who do you think is the best power bomb? Who do you think in the history of power bombs is the best power bomb?
Oh, man.
I got my answer. But go ahead.
It's tough.
That is very tough. That's very, very, very tough.
If I'm going to pick one, I'm going to go, I guess, with the Last Ride. Undertaker.
That's not bad.
Taker isn't bad. Taker is not a bad choice. As far as finishing maneuvers, or just as a...
It doesn't matter. Just pick one. It doesn't matter. I can't do that. That's if you want me to limit it, then finisher. How's that? I'll limit it. Finisher.
If it's a finisher, I mean, I guess I have to go with Kevin Nash.
That is pretty good.
The jackknife was, I mean, when he was Diesel and he was doing the jackknife, he couldn't do much.
JJ Torres just hit me up and said Kevin Nash powerbomb.
I was on the fence. It was between him and Psycho Sid, because Psycho Sid did a hell of a power bomb too.
Yep. So that leads me to mine, which is very similar to his. Vader's power bomb is the best power bomb. Vader hit you with that power bomb, you weren't getting up. Like, it was just
Vader
except
bomb.
for Hogan, apparently.
Vader bomb. Yeah.
Except for one person who no-sold it, and that was Hogan, which always pissed me off that he would no-sell that.
It's Hogan, you know.
I just feel like the finger interlocking power bomb was the most devastating power bomb, because there's no room. You were just going straight down on your head. And Vader was not. He didn't care. He's like, you're dead. It doesn't matter. I'll kill you. Here you go. Boom. Oh, you're dead. Bye. And when he was doing that, it was just I don't know. I always thought his power bomb was the best power bomb. That's just me.
It's a good one. There's a lot of good power bombs out there.
Yeah. See, I don't like sit-out power bombs, but go ahead.
Like the Batista bomb.
Yeah, the Batista bomb.
Absolutely. Who did the double power bomb? Was that Lesnar? Was that a Lesnar thing when he first came in?
Yeah, he did the double. The double
power. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was another thing I didn't quite understand. If you can't get it done with one, what makes you think when you're wore out by three that it's going to be any better?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I always like. Look, I understood the triple German suplex. I got that, but the power bomb, it looked devastating. But by the same token, like a guy like Brock Lesnar, you can't just do one on Spike Dudley of all people. Like he should be dead. He should be dead. You know what I mean?
Poor Spike.
Yeah, poor Spike. Yeah, but that son of a bitch was crazy. I loved him, man. I love Spike Dudley. He gave me hope.
Now see, if Enzo had the heart and talent of Spike Dudley, we would have a completely different thought about him in the ring.
Absolutely. I remember that one time he was in when he was in WWF, WE, whatever, and he had the seriousness about him, Spike Dudley. Like, he was ready to there's something about him. He just carried himself, and he was just ruthless. He was just hurting people. And I was like, oh my God, Spike Dudley, where have you been all my life? But anyway, getting back to the whole thing is everything, like I said, power bombs, love power bombs. I'll watch them all day as long as they're done right. But a good power bomb should put you out, and super kicks need to go. They need to go. And if you, my thing is, see, I guess we're used to, where I'm, my generation, if you want to call it that, me and Chris's generation, we saw a move and then nobody kicked out of. Like, if you got DDT'd by Jake Roberts, you weren't getting up. Like, it wasn't happening. You were not getting up. There was no kick out. There was no anything. If there was a pile driver, you sure as hell weren't getting up. I'd never seen anybody back in the day get up from a pile driver. You got pile drove, that was it. There was an end move. Now, don't get me wrong. There was one of the end moves back in the day that Ric Flair used to do was the suplex. That was an end move. You couldn't do that now. That's a hey, how you doing move. You know what I mean? That's a start out move. So
right. This is completely different, completely time frame now for stuff like that. You can't do those kind of things today and get that done. What do you guys think about? We got one more thing for Raw to cover. We got to jump to SmackDown.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I know we're not real big on the 205 Live for the most part. I kind of like some of it. I kind of like some of it myself. I like the cruiserweight division, that feel. But do you guys get the Akira Tozawa guy? Do you watch that? Do you like his character?
No, I don't watch 205 Live.
Well, this was on Raw, though. This was the match on Raw they had between the two of them. He's been coming out lately, and what is his grunt?
No, I don't
mean, he just grunts, and the crowd is starting to mimic that now, like it's a big deal.
I don't get it. I call it the Brody effect. But in wrestling, I don't see anything special about him. I'm waiting for something special. I'm waiting for it, and I don't see it. I don't see him except for the fast German suplex, which I've seen over the last 2 weeks. I've seen many independent wrestlers doing it just as well as he is. So I don't understand. it's just not doing anything. So.
Yeah. Well, now I guess we'll go
no
jump to SmackDown then, because we didn't really get. I knew we wouldn't get much of a talk out of that particular deal there, because we're not all that big on the 205 people so far. Neville, I do like Neville. I'm not going to get past Neville. I like him, but overall, there's just so many people I haven't really gotten into just yet. It hasn't got to me like it should, I guess. But
hey, Chris,
SmackDown.
Before we jump into SmackDown, we need to welcome our second caller of the evening, KJ's neighbor, Ray from New Jersey.
Woo-hoo!
Where they have water.
Ray.
You gotta like it when you get repeat callers. That's a good deal right there.
Hey, I already told Mike he's going to have a repeat offender here.
That's what I'm talking about.
Man. Cool.
It's like when you go to the strip club and that one particular stripper comes over and like calls dibs on you, right? I don't know. I've never had that happen.
Not really, but okay.
Well, before you guys move off of 205 Live, I've been watching the cruiserweights. Here's the thing, Tozawa.
Yeah.
I'm a little on the fence with him because he's the first cruiserweight that's come in since them introducing Neville into the cruiserweights that the fans have gotten behind in terms of being on Raw. Okay. The problem is they're limiting these guys. They're shortening the matches, and they're not allowing them to do what they did in the Cruiserweight Classic.
Well, they're afraid.
They're afraid, with the whole injury protocol, the concussion protocol, and with guys going down left and right. But they've got guys on the roster, i.e. Xavier Woods, Finn Balor. They've got guys in NXT, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. They've got Kalisto. They've got smaller, under 205-pound guys running around on the roster. They're not utilizing in this division to bring this division up to where everybody else is.
Let's be honest, Ray. Let's be honest. If they wanted to bring this division up, they would have already done it. They don't want it to come up.
All it is on Raw is just a filler for somebody to go and get something.
Exactly. They don't want it to come up. They don't want it to be big because they're afraid. They're only afraid because of, like you said, injury protocol, concussions, and that kind of thing. They're afraid that it's actually going to be bigger than the shit that they've built. That's why they killed the Cruiserweight division when they bought WCW. They saw what it was. It was the best part of WCW. It was the best part of WCW was the Cruiserweight division.
Oh, by far.
And what did they do?
No doubt about it.
They smashed it. They pretended like it never existed. They had their weak ass light heavyweight division back in the day, and it was a joke. I
wouldn't really consider it weak. It's just it was overshadowed by WCW. You had guys like Taka Michinoku. You had guys like Brian Christopher. You had guys that could move, but the problem is WCW's Cruiserweight division was so profound that there was nothing that was going to top it. Hell, even New Japan couldn't fucking top it.
Not at the time. Not at the time.
Exactly.
And that's the one thing that we would have gotten had Turner won the Monday Night Wars and WWE never purchased WCW.
Well, WWE, when they purchased the WCW, the problem with that is they totally just they did what they did with the Nexus. When they did that Survivor Series, it was a feud that could have lasted for a couple years if they would have utilized it properly, or they could have had, like I said I believe I mentioned last week, they could have had one running Raw, one running Nitro, or one running Raw and one running Nitro, and still brought in fans because Raw lost a lot of people when WCW, because you had your hardcore WCW fans, and a lot of them refused to go and watch Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost a lot of fans. If they would have just utilized it, okay, well, we're going to have one branch and another branch. We're just not going to let anybody know that we own both of them. We're going to keep the same guys in charge, let them do what they're doing. It's still bringing in something, and we're going to keep Raw.
A complete train wreck. They were losing money hand over fist. They had spent themselves into oblivion. Is what they had done.
That's what happens when you put an active wrestler as a booker like Kevin Nash.
Mm-hmm. Well, you also have. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
be that as it may, you can't leave the same people in charge. And somebody's going to talk because you can't keep everybody employed because there's no money. So you're going to have to let people go. And as soon as you let them go, they're going to start running their mouths because they're pissed off. They're not getting that bread and butter anymore. And they're going to say, well, I'll tell you exactly what's going on in WCW right now. Vince McMahon bought the company, yada, yada, yada. But in some ways, we would have been much better off had the WWE lost.
I actually like Nitro's platform, the way the original WCW Nitro was back in before it went to the new logo and everything. You know what I mean? I actually enjoyed how they had to set up the lighting, everything. I enjoyed that. It was overproduced.
It's not just that, but I mean, honestly, the business would be a lot different. It would be completely different. And I'm going to go out here on the thing and say, because it's been brought up last week, Chris did a special sort of show on it this week. The Chris Benoit tragedy probably never would have happened because he never would have been pushed in WCW like he was in WWE. He never would have had to put his body on the line. He never would have been in the main event picture.
I don't even think Eddie Guerrero would have died either.
If I may?
Tim. Here's Tim.
Hello, Tim. If I may. What's up? If I may, my thing is this, that guys like Benoit and those guys, they put their bodies on the line in WCW anyway, as well as ECW. The problems with them were more about, that stuff still probably would have happened for that exact reason, because Benoit had major brain damage because of the flying headbutt and all this other stuff. That would have changed,
But it would have
had didn't help either, and Vince wanted his bigger built guys.
But but we wouldn't have had Chris Benoit on national television because he never would have been World Heavyweight Champion. But when that tragedy happened, he probably wouldn't have even been employed by WCW at the time because they would have had all those great big WWE stars that they would have signed, been pushing, been booking, been doing. We probably never would have got John Cena.
Oh no, we probably would have had Benoit over in New Japan.
Yeah,
exactly. But it wouldn't have affected the business the way it did now.
But one of the problems with WCW, real quick, was the guys running it, because it was guys like Hogan and Nash and Hall. Those guys were the guys that ran it. Yeah, that was never going to change, and that's what would have happened in WWF as well. Still at the time, it was WWF, in my opinion, because Hogan everywhere he goes, he's toxic. So and he goes in there, and I mean, Vince McMahon still would listen to Hulk Hogan when he came back. That's why Hogan always got a push. And that's one of the biggest problems. Is wherever Hogan is, he just, for whatever reason, he goes in and he's talking and he pushes his buddies, and lo and behold, hey, look, there's Ed Leslie once again. You see?
Yeah.
And that's my point. You get Brutus Beefcake, getting a mid-card push, and it's like, why? And that's the problem with that. Is that guys, I think the best thing for wrestling was the death of WCW during that time, for that reason, because basically the people that killed WCW would have still been running crap, and it still would have led to the same problems. I think that's why TNA almost died, was because the vultures came in and basically picked it clean and brought in their buddies and did that.
Almost died. TNA died 10 years ago.
Yeah, right about the time Hogan showed up.
TNA was done when Jeff Jarrett left. And if WCW had won, we would never have gotten TNA, because let's face it, we would have had probably a 20-time World Heavyweight Champion, Jeff Jarrett. He was a company man, WCW company man. He was at the top, really at the pinnacle of his game at the time of the demise of WCW, but true. Vince and his, ever-swinging grapefruit-sized gonads couldn't bury the hatchet between him and Jarrett, or Jarrett couldn't do it with him, or however it went.
Yeah, I actually read an interview that Jarrett stated that Vince is the best at running companies. That's why WWE is so big, because Vince is great at what he does, and Jeff Jarrett has solemnly stated that. And he said there will probably never be anybody that will top that.
he said that Vince was the best at running a sports entertainment company, which is definitely true. I've heard a similar, what you're talking about, a similar interview. He said he's the best that there is at running a sports entertainment company, and nobody out there, he says, is going to come close to touching him. He said the only thing that the other people can do is put their eggs in the basket of a wrestling show and not a sports entertainment show, and hope that they can get that captive audience. Right, the alternative, get that audience on your side if you can, and build that up. And that's the one thing that nobody else has been able to do yet. Now, when he left TNA, and Mike is right, I mean, Jeff Jarrett, he runs a company like Jerry Lawler used to run the Memphis wrestling area along with Jerry Jarrett, Jeff's father. He runs it the same way. He puts himself in that spotlight as the champion off and on. He'll lose it, but he ends up taking it right back.
128 times. 128 times. That's how many times goddamn Lawler literally won the USWA championship.
Yeah, but
if you combine them all together, you're probably right. But you got to combine all the previous company names.
I'm sorry.
CWA,
I apologize. Let's just call it the Jerry Lawler title, okay? He won the
championship. Hey KJ, do you know when I'm having an argument with people online about the greatest tag team of all time, and they say it's the Dudley Boys because they've had so many titles, I always say, does that mean that Jerry Lawler is the world's greatest singles wrestler?
Let me ask you guys a question.
And it shuts them up.
Let me ask you guys a question. So I watched that thing on Jeff Jarrett. It was like his own little Jeff Jarrett, King of the Mountain, like the WWE spotlight somebody. They spotlighted him, and I'm watching this, and he's tooting his own horn and how important he is, and I'm watching it, and I'm going, why am I still watching this? Like, this is interesting, but why am I still watching this? Because this guy thought he's much bigger in the game than he was. If you ask any casual fan who Jeff Jarrett is, they're going to either call him, Double J, blah, blah, blah. He was the chosen one. He was this. I don't think that he's that important to wrestling. What do you guys think about that?
If I may?
Yeah,
if I may. Jarrett was, honestly, he was a smart man. With the whole TNA thing, with the X Division, all that stuff, the man has a mind for business. Is he as great in ring as he thinks he is? No. Is he a great talker? Very much so. He's one of those guys that probably should have been a world champion a couple times like he was and things like that, but he should have never been the top guy for very long. That's what I think of him. He has a great mind for the business. You grow up in the business, and if you pay attention, you're going to have a great mind for it. I mean, his dad had a great mind for the business overall.
Big time.
So does Jeff Jarrett. And I honestly believe that. I think Jeff Jarrett is a very smart businessman, and I think that when he was doing the TNA thing, he understood that he was not going to be able to compete with WWE. So that's why they did. They gave the alternatives, 6 signs, great wrestling, the X Division, a young AJ Styles, hell, Amazing Red, all these other guys that you said, would never be anything, back in 2003.
Yep.
You see?
Fair enough.
I want to get us back on track for a moment. You guys were finishing off on Raw. I wanted to mention, because I came in at the back end of that. I just want to say, as far as Raw was concerned, that Kevin Owens promo was one of his best promos I've seen him do, first of all. Okay. Other than that, it was a mediocre show, but, there was something I mentioned to Mike that, I wanted to bring up on the show, that I feel how this, leading into SmackDown, how this whole WrestleMania thing might go. If you think about it, okay, Brock Lesnar destroys Orton at SummerSlam, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 Next thing you know, Orton starts a feud with Bray Wyatt, but then joins the Wyatts. Now, a man shows up that Lesnar never beats, Goldberg. Goldberg destroys him in something like 89 seconds, okay? Bray Wyatt, and Randy Orton, they're running rampant in SmackDown, winning tag team titles, last men standing in the Survivor Series match. Okay, we go to the Royal Rumble. All right, Goldberg eliminates Lesnar. You've got Bray Wyatt essentially helping Randy Orton win the Royal Rumble. Fast forward to Elimination Chamber. Bray Wyatt wins the title. That's SmackDown. Orton says, I can't face you. You're my master. I serve you. So his name is at a hat for the WWE Championship. Now you've got Fastlane coming up this Sunday. You've got Goldberg and Owens. Now we already know that Owens is not going to beat Goldberg. Unfortunately, Goldberg can't go as long as he used to. His knees are shot. His ankles are shot. He's not in the shape he used to be. Okay.
I've never thought Goldberg was any good.
He could go.
Obviously.
When could he go? I mean, he could
right.
go for 30 seconds 20 years ago. Yeah. He can go for 30 seconds
right.
now.
Right.
Yeah, the guy was fucking wind after 2 minutes.
Well, it's going to end up being a squash match, and he's going to win the Universal Championship. Fast forward to WrestleMania, okay? It's probably, by the looks of it, it's probably going to be Harper and Bray Wyatt, okay? Because they're talking about a feud between Shane and AJ for Mania. You got Goldberg. Well, it's kind of right. I agree, but it's kind of looking like it's leading that way because if you watch Talking Smack, AJ's talking shit on Shane and whatnot. But Goldberg will lose to Lesnar. All right, but Goldberg's going to be beaten up. I mean, Lesnar's going to be beaten up and sore. Whose music hits? Randy Orton's music hits. He never officially declared what championship he's going after. Royal Rumble winner can pick a championship.
No, he can't. He can't. It's brand specific now. It's brand specific now. He can't just jump to Raw. Nope.
It could be something that could be in the works because they've been talking about moving Roman Reigns to SmackDown. So it could be something in the works. And they've been talking about doing the draft, the trading, so to speak, after Mania. So you could see Orton kicking the bones of Lesnar, getting his payback, winning the Universal Championship, and Harper's just a pawn, basically, in the storyline going ha the whole time to keep both belts in the Wyatt family.
Honestly,
this is how I see this playing out.
I think you might. I see two options going with the Lesnar Owens match, and both of them. I think Lesnar's just gonna, not Lesnar, but Goldberg Owens match. Yeah, Goldberg Owens match. Goldberg's gonna kick his ass no matter what. But I think, what I hope can happen is Lesnar.
There's gonna be Lesnar Owens too.
Yeah, this is what I hope happens: that Lesnar interferes and costs Goldberg the title, so that we get to see Owens and freaking Jericho for the title of WrestleMania. That's what I'm
That'll be for the U.S. title, and that's going to start out the U.S. Championship for him.
Listen to me. This is what's going to happen. I'm calling it. Number one, it's not going to be Goldberg. It's going to be Chris Jericho is going to... No, that's not going to work either.
Oh, it's gonna be Lesnar that's gonna interfere.
It has to be Lesnar. You're right. It has to be Lesnar. Yeah. I don't see him getting the title, and to be quite honest, there's too many rumors saying that Goldberg it's too easy. They're not gonna give it to Goldberg. As far as the title's concerned, somehow something's gonna happen between Chris and Chris Jericho and Owens. Owens already attacked Jericho in Munich, so that's
right.
thing
But
that you have.
You got to remember, Jericho's United States champion. He's leaving after Mania because he's got to go on tour with Fozzy. They're going to put the strap around Kevin Owens. They're going to put the United States Championship around Kevin Owens, and that's what they're not going to make him a dual champion.
I don't want to see Goldberg as champion.
He's going to be champion. He's going to be champion. Goldberg is going to be champion.
I fucking hate part-timers as champion. Fucking hate it.
Apparently WWE doesn't care what any of us want.
Well, obviously. Because, let's put a 50-something-year-old guy who hasn't wrestled more than 3 minutes in the last decade as world champion. It's fucking ridiculous.
Why? They gave Ric Flair the Intercontinental title 55 years old.
Yeah, but Ric Flair was still an active competitor when that happened.
Exactly.
He was wrestling matches. Goldberg hasn't even competed in a decade.
Listen,
I don't mind. See, I don't mind a part-timer being champion. Do you want to know why?
I hate it.
You take it back to the 80s, okay? Before it was, constant televised events. You had your occasional Saturdays. You had this. You had that. It brought more yearning, more prestige, more want for to see a champion. So, like, when Lesnar was world champion, he wasn't there all the time. And it made it great to see when the world champion was going to show up. And it made people want to watch and see if he's going to be there. So I think putting the belt around part-time is not a bad idea.
Right. But in the 80s, those guys weren't part-timers. They were full-timers. They were still working. Just because you didn't see them on TV doesn't mean they weren't beating the road every day.
Lesnar actually has a match, limit for the year. He only wrestles, 10 matches a year. That's it. And Goldberg probably wrestles 3 or 4. That's it. That's like the Undertaker. Would you put the strap on the Undertaker?
Yeah, but he's going to hold the title for 3 weeks. All he's going to be is a transition champion. That's like John Cena. John Cena won the belt at the Royal Rumble to tie Ric Flair's record, only to lose it 2 weeks later.
Well, that's why they did it. It's stupid. But that's why they did it. That's exactly why they did it. So this way, now you're going, okay, they're tied. Is he going to ever beat Ric Flair's? That's that whole thing now that he's tied. Plus, he wanted to go over. Plus, he needed to go. They needed to have him be a transitional. They needed him to be able to put over Bray Wyatt. And I'm glad that he did.
Because you're not going to have a heel versus heel for the championship.
The last world champion that wasn't a transitional champion, in all honesty, from my viewpoint, was freaking CM Punk. Everybody else has the title for a month, 2 months, and then they drop it. That's it. While CM Punk went over a year. That's just the way I see it.
AJ wasn't necessarily a transitional champion.
Well,
AJ held it for a good 5 months.
Well, you got AJ too. But other than those guys, basically everybody else, how many guys, they have 16 world championships, but how many of them were 2 weeks, a month?
Yeah, look at Roman Reigns,
like
he became a 3-time world heavyweight champion in 4 months.
Yeah, exactly. Those are transitions. That's my point. Is that almost everybody. Most Triple H's 14 world titles were basically a month long. Most of them.
Right, but that right there, that brings me back to a thought that you said about Jeff Jarrett and Jerry Lawler and the Memphis Wrestling. That's what Triple H is essentially doing. He's running a lot of the show now, and he can put the belt on it whenever he wants from time to time.
Yeah, but Triple H is Triple H, and I'm okay with that. Because he could still go,
Yeah, but if he wasn't married to Stephanie McMahon, do you think he would have ended up being a 14-time world champion? In all honesty, I understand there's a lot of backstage stuff.
I could see him, in all honesty, I could see him being a world champion 5, 6 times. Yeah, because he has the ability. He has the charisma. He's a great talker, great look. Actually, was really good in the ring for a lot of years. So why not? What do you think?
He could still go too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is he could still wrestle. It's not like Goldberg, who can't.
Well, here's
never
the
could.
thing.
Oh, yeah, Goldberg never could wrestle. So.
Yeah, that's what I just said. I said never could.
He's as good as he's ever been, Tim. He's as good as he's ever been.
Yeah, which is not very.
In all honesty.
What did y'all think? What did you guys think of the better show of the week? We know what we know what Raw was like. What did you think about SmackDown this past week, though?
Oh, you mean NXT? No, okay.
It was marginally better.
It was definitely better than Raw this week, though.
Oh, that's
no. Well, I still in my mind would say NXT is still better than anything on the main roster, but that's my opinion. SmackDown.
Well, that's because they're all
I thought
wrestling.
Was great. I think the one big spot that I feel is the greatest heel of all time right now is The Miz. I think that they're working
I love him.
Yes, I think they're going to work that in great. I think that they're going to work the whole John Cena and Nikki Bella thing, and even though it's a stupid idea,
it is
I
horrible.
think it's going to fare out well, and it's something that's really necessarily never been done.
Maurice, when was
why?
She was never wrestling.
Why?
Never.
What point
but I think it would
make?
be nice to see her back in the ring in that ring gear because we all know she looks damn good in it too.
Oh, that is.
Sorry, I'm not into plastic. I'm not into plastic, boys.
Okay, hey, here's something. I was thinking about The Miz. I don't know if you guys noticed. I follow a bunch of guys on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. And Daniel Bryan's starting to work out and stuff again. He's starting to get in shape. He's starting to. I'm thinking maybe because those two are still going back and forth, they might be getting him ready for a SummerSlam match against The Miz.
What, like a non-sanction like we did with HBK back in 2006?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, like that kind of deal. I really.
It's going to be a tough call, but just remember, to this day, Daniel Bryan still gives 0 fucks.
Yeah.
Dude,
Exactly.
you know how many people? Do you know how many people are going to mark the fuck out? They're going to mark out hard for that match.
Well, I'll tell you.
Mark out.
I'll tell you what. I think it'll be great, but it's only going to be a one and done. I mean, he's had offers from New Japan, and if you think about it, every doctor except for one has stated that he's physically and mentally cleared to be in that ring, except for that one doctor. And
yeah, but in all honesty, I'm going to go off of that one doctor. If it were my brain, because that guy's like, I'm going to because I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of people like, get back in there. Like the old NFL doctors, they're like, these guys' brains are pudding, That's what happened to Chris Benoit.
If he steps back in the ring,
the doctor telling him he can get in.
Right. If Daniel Bryan steps back in that ring on a full-time basis after this, and this whole thing is just a gimmick, just to hold off on it, you're going to see another Chris Benoit incident because Daniel Bryan to this day, until he stopped wrestling, still did the diving headbutt, which was supposed to be one of those moves off the top rope you weren't allowed to do anymore.
Yeah. In all honesty, I agree it's going to be a one and done, maybe 2 matches at the most. He's not going to wrestle a full schedule anymore. If anything, he won't ever wrestle again. I really think it will be a one and done thing. That's SummerSlam. Obviously not WrestleMania because it's too late for that. So, I can see them doing something at SummerSlam.
Well, he has a kid now, too. He has a kid now. He can't do the things he used to do. You know what I mean?
She hasn't given birth yet, but
No, but what I'm saying is when that child's due, she's a Bella. She's gonna tell him, no, you're not doing that, and he'll go, yes, dear. That's the bottom line.
I've watched the Total Divas and the Total Bella show, and the way she is, I understand she's a Bella, but she's not Nikki. Bria's more understanding. Cool. She knows how much Daniel Bryan loves the industry, how much he wants to be in that ring. And she has flat out said, if there was a way that you can go back, she said, I would back you 150%.
Well, I mean,
but I'm sure it would come with conditions. But I'm sure it would come with conditions. He wouldn't just be able to go out and do the things he wanted to do. I'm sure he would have to be safe. If she truly cares about him and he as his family, he could talk to Mick Foley about that. You know what I mean?
Well, as far as that's concerned, under what he has realized and what he's gone through, I honestly think if he does make a step back into the ring, I think he is going to change league. I think he's going to find a way to be safer because he knows that his career pretty much was almost over, literally done, no more. So if he has an opportunity to get back in that ring, I think he's going to do what it takes to be safer.
I really, like I said, one match is what I think. Because him and The Miz need to do something because I think this is one of those things. I mean, The Miz is literally doing his moves. By the way, I love that. I'm a huge Miz guy. Ever since I've thought he was a douchebag since day one, and that's exactly what he wants us to think. So I love him. I think he's great.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's get back on track. I like Raw better than SmackDown because with Raw I get to see instant replays and different camera angles. Apparently, we couldn't do that for the main event. So next time I think the Raw, I think that the main event on Raw is better than SmackDown.
That main event on Raw was one of the. I mean, that showed right there. It was a different perspective because when you get 2 big guys like that, if you shrunk them down about 6-7 inches each one, then they're essentially the same size as your regular size wrestlers. So it was basically like watching an oversized match, if you know what I mean, because you're seeing 2 guys that are essentially the same size doing moves to each other that the smaller guys do, and it actually looked normal, and it was actually cool to see.
Honestly, that match surprised the hell out of me. Those guys really did. I was surprised. I mean, I've always been a Big Show fan, and I'm starting to really like Braun Strowman. And you're right, though, Chuck, that when Strowman did that tip-up thing, it was like watching a shark jump out of the water for the first time. I was like, whoa! That was pretty damn cool.
Well, it's sad to say that they should have had that match at a pay-per-view. Because that right there was actually, in my opinion, pay-per-view caliber. That was a pay-per-view caliber match.
I agree. It was one better matches I've seen, especially you look at two big guys and you go,
Well, so go ahead. You were saying?
No, I said, you normally when you see two guys outside, they're going to wrestle each other, you're like, oh, God, this is going to be lame. And then these guys do that, and you're like, whoa, that was good, Well, that brings me back to a statement I was going to say before about how many big guys can you actually see really move around the ring, which was going to bring me to my next thing. Was talking about main events and replays. SmackDown's main event, that Battle Royal. You got Luke Harper. That dude can move. But they messed up. Anybody that watched that replay knows that AJ's feet hit first. Yeah.
Right.
You don't even have to watch the replay. All you have to do is watch the match. He rolled out of the ring apron and off the ring apron and laid there for 10 or 15 seconds before Harper flopped over to the freaking floor.
Yeah.
Well, I think Harper's upper body came down at the same time AJ's legs came down, and that's what it was. But I think the steps got in the way of Harper's feet.
His feet, that's the rule.
But it's with the feet touch. Not when your hand touches.
You can have your head spinning on there, and your back and your knees and everything else. As long as your feet don't touch, you're good.
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston walked on his hands halfway across the floor to get in the ring when the Royal Rumble. Didn't get eliminated.
Still one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life, by the way.
Dude, I'm telling you,
AJ's right. AJ could hop around that ring on one foot and technically not be eliminated.
Yeah.
This is what bothers me about that whole stupid thing. Number one, I love how people who get eliminated can eliminate other people. What? I hated that rule before, and I hate that rule now, and it just pissed me off. So that's one.
Yeah,
two, but in all honesty, it kept Cena out of the main event.
It adds
kept Cena out of the main event.
Good. I enjoyed it. I'm tired of seeing Cena in the main event.
So what? Then somebody else get him out legally. You have what? 2 other men in the ring, 3 other men in the ring. Get them the fuck out of there. Why does it have to be a fucking? What?
But it adds to the previous feud that those two have had in the past, and it adds to the setup that they're going to do for essentially couple versus couple.
But nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. It's a waste of time at WrestleMania.
No, I understand that. But it's still. I think it'll still be a good program because I've always enjoyed seeing The Miz and Cena go back and forth. Anytime they've been in the ring together, it's always been good because the Miz has a way with that mic.
And as far as The Miz coming back in and tossing them out, like me and Chuck talked earlier in the week, those are no disqualification matches. As far as the battle, go back to any battle royal you can think of, and remember, as far back as WrestleMania 2, if you want to, when you see
Royal
that
Rumble 2002.
What was it? Who was it? Bill Francis, the football player, got eliminated? No, was it William Perry? Maybe William Perry. John Studd reached down to I guess he reached up to shake his hand. He pulled John Studd over the top rope and eliminated him. He was already gone when he eliminated Studd at that point. It happens at every Royal Rumble practically. Every Royal Rumble practically, somebody from outside gets
it
back in.
It doesn't matter how you go. It doesn't matter how you go over the top rope. All that matters is that you go over the top rope.
Right.
If you step over the top rope yourself.
It doesn't matter that it's bullshit. It doesn't matter that it's bullshit. It just happens to be bullshit. And I don't care. It's bullshit. I don't like it. I hate it. I think it's dumb.
Right, so,
I'm like, hey, look, Casper the Friendly Ghost just eliminated me. Because as far as I'm concerned, he's a fucking ghost. He shouldn't even be. You go, you leave. I don't care. I don't care if it's kayfabe, it's not kayfabe, it's bullshit. This shit like that bothers me.
I got one more thing to bring up about SmackDown. One more thing about SmackDown. Then we're going to jump to the thing Mike want to talk about before we lose too much time. We got 40 minutes left in the whole show. So one more thing about SmackDown, and then we got to the Attitude Era that Mike wants to kind of touch back on since he watched the older pay-per-view earlier. But the Women's Championship on SmackDown, they had to give it up. Naomi had to give it up because I guess she actually injured herself. I didn't know she had done that, but apparently they're saying that she had a real injury or something. She has to give the belt up because she can't defend it. So they had a match with who was it, Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch, I believe?
Yeah.
For the title? Yeah. All right. Now, I know that y'all aren't big, Alexa Bliss fans for the most part, but tell me she is not the most perfect heel that with the way she came out there and acted when she passed her by, got in the ring, and the stuff that she said and the way she acted, trying to get the belt just handed to her. I mean, she has that heel factor
perfect
down pat.
No, I actually enjoyed the fact that SmackDown put more into the women this week than they've ever done. I enjoy seeing the women actually now have, being utilized properly, not just eye candy, because they are getting to the point now that they are athletes.
You're right. The problem is half of them are not. That's the problem. Like,
yeah, but the four that Alexa Bliss on SmackDown are.
Listen, no. Oh, really? Because Alexa Bliss can't wrestle, I hate to tell you, and she has no really just concerning abilities in the ring.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sorry.
she's a former gymnast as well as a bodybuilder, so she's got the athleticism there.
Doesn't mean you're
That
right.
doesn't mean anything. I can play checkers and I'm not good at chess. It doesn't matter. Be good at what you're good at. She's not good in the ring. She's the fat chick that has a great personality. That's all she is. That's it.
But
I would watch her wrestle. I would watch her wrestle before I would watch and get into Nia Jax wrestling. I can't get into Nia Jax. I can't get into
Nia
her.
Jax doesn't wrestle. She stands there and looks pissed off.
I would watch Alexa Bliss before I would watch Sasha Banks these days wrestle, because I think in my opinion,
Alexa Bliss is not a wrestler. Right, but you say Alexa Bliss is not a wrestler. You look at Nikki Bella. Look when Nikki Bella started out, okay? Mm-hmm. And look at her now. She learned, she trained, she did what she needed to do, and now she's actually, I would consider her
exactly.
a wrestler.
But the problem is that somebody like Nikki Bella or Natalya should have the women's title, not somebody that needs a lot of work.
And she needs a lot of work. And then
she needs a lot of work.
I'll agree. Natalya is overdue for a title.
I mean, there's only one other person. There's only one other woman on the SmackDown roster that I think needs more work than Alexa Bliss, and she is by far KJ's favorite, Carmella.
I think I just threw up a little bit.
Can we not talk about upsetting things? Because this really bothers me. But the other upsetting thing,
may as well say Tito Santana. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to me. Or Flair. Or Bam Bam Bigelow. Here's the thing. Becky Lynch. Sorry. Yeah, thanks. Becky Lynch. Sorry. But Becky Lynch, I can't watch her. She's unwatchable. Becky Lynch is unwatchable. Don't care what anybody says. She's unwatchable.
She's
not good on the mic. Just as bad. I'm sorry. I just don't think she's botchmania all the time. I don't think she's good. She has the potential, but oh my God, no, stop. We need
basically
somebody.
what it comes down to. What it comes down to is it's all in what a person likes to watch, as far as what you like to see. I mean, it's like we had this discussion before, the three of us, about a month ago, about which roster had the better women's wrestling on it. Was it Raw or was it SmackDown? And I was siding with SmackDown. Y'all were both siding with Raw. I just like SmackDown's women's roster better to watch them than I do than what's on the Raw roster for the women's stuff. So it's kind of the same thing here. I know you don't like watching Becky Lynch. Y'all say that you don't think Alexa Bliss is a good wrestler. I personally would rather see either Nikki Bella or Alexa Bliss, either one, have the title, and they're neither one traditional wrestlers.
The Raw's women, I feel, are more segmented as opposed to SmackDown's women, who are more in ring. And it's sad because SmackDown's a shorter show, so you would think that the women would be more utilized on segments on SmackDown, and the Raw would be more in ring.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all. I think, look, this is how I feel about the women's division, unfortunately. There is Natalya. There is, well, let me put it this way. Yeah. There's Natalya. There's Nikki Bella. And before all that, though, is Charlotte Flair, those three, and then there's everybody else. That's how I feel. I
agree.
Sorry.
I agree with you, KJ, but you have to throw Mickie James in there now since she's back.
Yes, she is amazing.
Well, speaking of Mickie James, there's been talks that I've come across, because I've mentioned you guys, this guy Alfie Davis that I follow. he has mentioned that there is a real strong possibility now that with Naomi being out, there's a couple live house shows that they were supposed to do six-woman tag. It was supposed to be Naomi, Becky Lynch, and Nikki Bella versus Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and Natalya. But with Naomi being out, there's a lot of talks about they're bringing Asuka to these house shows to be part of this six-woman tag. So is that foreshadowing of Asuka coming up to the main roster after Mania, because she's supposed to face Peyton Royce for the title?
Of all the women that face Asuka, if they let Peyton Royce be the one to dethrone her, that'll be pitiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but as far as the heel goes, they're going to have a heel take it off Asuka, and I prefer Peyton Royce over Billie Kay.
They had to do some kind of thing when they screwed her out of it somehow. Then it can't be a clean win.
They better call up Kevin Nash and get the cattle prod out.
Well,
that's what you're going to need to take her down.
That's the unfortunate thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that they will not. The only person that they've really let do anything that they want is AJ Styles. If you think about it, he is not watered down. AJ could do whatever AJ does, because you would be stupid not to let him do that.
And that was probably contractual.
Well, hey, whatever works, right? But
exactly.
You know what I mean? Whatever's clever. Asuka, they should just let her do what she does. The problem is, if she does what she wanted to do, she would kill people, if you think about it.
Well, that's the same thing with Shinsuke. If they let him do what he does, he'd kill somebody. I mean, Jesus, he already broke Samoa Joe's face.
Yeah. Well, Asuka, threw that roundhouse, that spinning roundhouse into Emma and crumbled her. Just crumbled her.
Oh, we have to touch on that, too. We have to touch on that for a second.
Oh, yeah. I want to bring that up. Emma coming out and saying Emmalina is Emma, and she's not doing the whole Emmalina gig.
Yeah, so they build this thing up for, 17 weeks, Chris? KJ? 17 weeks?
I lost count.
It was the greatest troll done by the WWE in history.
It wasn't a troll. It wasn't a troll. They literally waited till the week that they were supposed to debut this to figure out that she couldn't fucking do it.
Right. What it was is I believe it was supposed to happen in Philly, because I believe it was supposed to happen in Philly because I was at that event. They were supposed to bring her out, but they ran out of time because segments ran too long, so they scratched it for that night.
No. She went in front of the talent people. And they said that she sucked, that she was not believable, that she couldn't do it, that her heart wasn't in it, and they scrapped the entire thing. You would have thought that they would have figured this out long before that.
I don't understand why they tried to do it anyway. She was great as a heel when she got away from that bubbly Emma, that dancing quirky Emma, and then got that dark side of Emma, that I don't give a shit Emma. That's the perfect character for her.
What's that woman's name? Was all red. Something to do with red. Her hair was real red and
all
Eva
red,
Marie.
All red, everything. Eva Marie. Yeah, she's gone. I think they got
What
rid
is
of
the
her.
worst disappointment ever then? Eva Marie or Emma? Which one?
Emma.
I mean,
Eva
they're
Marie,
both.
Eva Marie, because Emma could wrestle.
No, it's not even that. You could still salvage this. You don't understand. It's a failed experiment, but they didn't. It's not that he brought the failed experiment out and they absolutely tried it for weeks and weeks and it failed. They killed it right then and right there. Why, I don't know. Why go all through that? I don't get it. Hopefully they're going to come out with something else. Hopefully they're going to come out. It's still salvageable. And Emma can wrestle. Eva Marie is a train wreck. All she is fake boobs and red hair.
Yeah, but you know what? KJ? Eva Marie could bring heat. People hate her, and that's
the wrong kind of heat.
I hate my neighbor too, but I'm not going to be paying money to see somebody beat him up.
Well, depends on who the neighbor
heat.
is.
Look, there's heat. There's heat. Look, The Miz has heat.
Yes.
People really generally dislike him, but they dislike him knowing his character. They don't like
but people
Eva Marie.
hate Roman Reigns too.
What?
People hate Roman Reigns too. Even his own uncle Rosie has turned around and said the best thing for Roman Reigns is to turn. Or I'm sorry, not his brother. His uncle, his brother Rosie, has even turned around and stated in an interview, the best thing for Roman Reigns that they need to do with him is turn him heel.
Yes. Again, though, that is not his fault. He has talent. They're doing it. They're not using it in the right way. This is Eva Marie. Eva Marie, no matter what you do, no matter how you package her, she sucks. It doesn't matter. She's not good for business. She is cardboard with red hair and fake boobs. She might as well be Baron Cardboard. No.
Okay, so if you had to choose Maurice or Eva Marie to stay and go, and who would go and who would stay, who would you pick?
Neither.
Wait, say this again?
Just
if you had
shoot
to
them
choose
both.
one of them to stay, Eva Marie or Maurice, who would you choose to stay?
I'd keep Maurice. Maurice, hands down.
Yeah.
Maurice is good heat. She is good heat because she has personality. She may be fake. I don't like her boobs or anything like that.
Hey,
She's
KJ.
still...
KJ, look. It's Eva Marie. I feel so much better now.
Yeah, but I don't.
Because you know that was.
I don't know. I've seen Maurice's Playboy spread.
Nicely done.
I've seen Maurice's Playboy spread. Okay, those ain't fake.
Those are fake, and she has said it. She has claimed it.
Airbrush.
They're fake. They're fake.
Well, then maybe she got them done after the spread, but.
No, I don't know. I have yet to see anybody from the WWE who has been in Playboy not have fake boobs. Think about it. Think about anybody you could think of.
I'm actually trying to rack my brain on this. Tori. I don't think Tori had fake ones. No,
Tori had fake boobs. Tori had fake boobs.
China obviously did.
Yeah. Everybody
Sable,
did. Everybody that's done it. Candice Marie did.
No. Maria Kanellis.
Who?
Maria
Kanellis is the one that played the real dumb girl on there who had no sense whatsoever, but she's gone everywhere else and proved that she has, basically. The one that made everybody laugh when they got her in the courtroom saying she spoke very intelligently instead of the dummy that she was portrayed to be.
She's the hot, tiny redhead in TNA who's with, what's-his-face? Shit. They used to be in the Kingdom together.
No shit, fake boobs too, bro.
No.
As much as we all like to talk of fake boobs, I'm sure Mike wants to get in his attitude era a bit. We got 27 minutes left, so I told him we would get it in here, Mike. Mike, this is your baby right now. Take it over. Take it over.
We can get away from the train wreck that was the WWE this week and go back in time into the way back machine, just like the New Day did. And we are going to go back to WrestleMania 15 because today I just had a hankering for something from the past that 1999 wound up on my computer screen. And I'm thinking, man, I was a freshman in high school. WrestleMania 15. And I thought,
around my age then.
As the show opens, I'm looking and I'm seeing the big difference already is the crowd. Man, the crowd is huge. And there's signs everywhere. There's the King and there's Michael Cole in commentary. JR did come out for the main event, but that's when he had one of his really bad spells of Bell's palsy, and he was all paralyzed on one side of his face, and he was trying to lick boogers from his nose and all that stuff.
My God.
Yeah.
Talking to Mahal.
And
the man's got a family.
Yeah. And so I'm sitting there and I'm watching it and I'm thinking, I remember being a youngster watching this and growing up pretty much in that era, and I'm thinking, was it really as good as I remember it? And I go back and watch, and the more I watch, the more I realize it's better than I remembered it. And it's not really the Attitude Era, but it's the wrestling. The wrestling was better. The people seemed more involved. The wrestlers were. I don't know if it was the fact that there was still that kayfabe going on. The announce team was on a different level, and it was Michael Cole, young punk-looking Michael Cole, and dirty old man King, who was still horny as hell and doing his thing with the puppies and such. But they were calling the matches. Like, you could close your eyes and still know what was going on. Today, if you close your eyes, you get like 3 commercials for Total Divas, something about a shirt, and a long pause and nothing.
And a random backstage segment.
Yeah, but they called the matches. The King and Michael Cole were calling, and King was saying, Al, that would hurt, and you don't get that anymore. It's really odd. It's almost like it's gone to a different planet. So, in my opinion, after watching WrestleMania 15, I have to definitively say that the Attitude Era was better. Much better. And not just because of crazy, whacked-out gimmicks, because there were. I think the very first match was a hardcore title match with Bob Holly, Al Snow, and Billy Gunn. And, Al Snow was talking to a mannequin head. But it was entertaining from start to finish, except for the stable match. The stable match was horrible.
I have to agree because of the fact of the matter that back then, the Attitude Era, they were starting to transition into something to catch people's eyes. They were transitioning from the quote-unquote next generation and the old school into something different, and they were to the point that they were trying to do anything. They were trying to what am I trying to say here? Like, be more innovative and put shock value in terms of moves and everything, which now everything is move-wise. A lot of it's still the same as back then to an extent, and it's not really new to us anymore.
Well, it's not just that. It's that there was a story. There were actual stories. There was a match where it was Foley versus the Big Show, Paul White. Here he is, fresh out of WCW, long hair, Big Show. And whoever won got to be the special guest referee for the main event. And Foley winds up winning via disqualification. McMahon's pissed because he needs the Big Show down there in the corporation. He comes out, gets in his face. Show hits him, knocks him out. They call the police. Big Show gets arrested. But it's a follow. Now today, if somebody would, smack Foley, nothing would happen. There would be no consequence to it. But there was a story there. A story was told, and it made it better. Even though the cops that showed up obviously weren't police officers, and they stuck him in the back of a burgundy, what looked to be like Mercury Sable, and here's the Big Show, all crooked over, like sitting sideways in the back seat of this burgundy car, and there's a strobe light going, off camera. You can tell it's not a real police light. Back then, I guess they didn't have the swing or the money or whatever it was to actually rent cops or rent equipment. But it made it more. The Undertaker was versus the Big Boss Man, Hell in a Cell. The Brood comes down and they hang Boss Man. Yeah, it was kind of like, that was a little over the top. That probably shouldn't happen, but the match itself was great. It reminded me just how good of a wrestler the Big Boss Man was. We don't have that.
And it's a shame because back then, the Boss Man, they utilized him more and they showed more of his potential, but in terms, what did he ever get really used for? A hardcore division.
But at least it was entertaining. At least we got a story out of it.
Yeah, that's very true.
I hear KJ. Go ahead, KJ.
Let me ask. The match with Taker and what is it, Big Boss Man? That's the one in the cage?
Yeah, it was in the Hell in a
Cell. It was a Hell in a Cell.
I hated that match. I hated it with a passion.
I knew you would.
Fiery Sons.
I knew you would. But you know what? It was a better Hell in a Cell than we got in this last Heck in a Cell.
That's debatable.
No.
That's
the
debatable.
cell was used. There was actual violence.
He got hung, quote unquote. It was terrible.
Yes, I said that. That was over the top. That was part of the Attitude Era bullshit.
I didn't think they had chemistry in that match. They didn't have chemistry in the match. Sorry. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I think
if you're going overall
terms, but you think about it in terms of where they were then and where they started. They both are. They're the same character, the Undertaker and the Big Boss Man, but they're different. You know what I mean? At that point, that was the Ministry Undertaker. That I still think was one of his coolest looks ever, with that spiked goatee and the hair, like the hair pulled back. I still today say that was my favorite Undertaker. But you had the SWAT team version look of the Boss Man. And at this point, they're already, I mean, even though the Boss Man had his stint in WCW, they're two guys that were there essentially 10 years prior. So it was a look of, this is where they were then, this is where they are now. And to be able to be put on a main stage like that, in a situation like that, in a gimmick match like that, and yes, I'm saying gimmick match, I definitely feel that it showed the transition into something, and it was something different, and that's why I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think the way it goes, we talk about the Attitude Era, Mike, as being one of the best eras there was. I mean, I guess as in our eyes, as more of adults, the Attitude Era was a great time of wrestling for WWE. That and the Ruthless Aggression both, one probably going neck and neck there, as far as which one was the best or something.
I actually think Ruthless Aggression was better than the Attitude Era.
I think the transition itself was great.
In my opinion, but like I said, just going back in time, and this was at the height of the Attitude Era, 1999, 99, 2000. That was pretty much the apex of that era in the WWE's history. It reminded me just how good it actually was, and not for the shock value. Like I said, I didn't like the whole Boss Man getting quote unquote hanged in the cell.
No, like you said, that was a little over the edge with that one. Like that was probably, if you're going to make a category of something that literally crossed the line, kind of like the whole Al Snow ate his dog kind of thing. That puts that in that. That may have actually crossed the line.
Yeah,
especially right around the time of, not too long prior to that, Owen Hart died from not being properly connected to a suspension cable coming from the sky. So you've got a guy that essentially died in that aspect, and then you're going to hang a guy in the middle of a cage, in the middle of a ring for 20,000 people there to see and millions at home to watch. That was probably pushing the envelope a little too far.
But the worst match is... Go ahead.
I rolled my eyes at that. No, I'm just saying, I'm sorry, but I rolled my eyes at that. I thought it was ridiculous. It was like, okay, he's obviously not dead. He's obviously not, hurt or whatever. I hate stuff like that. I hate it. I think it was a dumb thing. I'd rather he be hung up by his legs and just
at that
dangling.
Point, right. At that point, when a lot of people thought wrestling was still real, you could have probably had kids going home, well, if he can do that and live, then I can do it and live. And next thing you know, you got parents burying their kids.
Yeah, exactly. No, I understand. It's irresponsible. But it was dumb to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't... It was like, oh, look, he hung. It wasn't shocking to me. It was, I rolled my eyes. It was like, this is crap. And let's face it, 50%, I'll even go this far, 40% was great for the Attitude Era, 40%. The rest was shit, dude. It was shit. We see a lot of it with rose-colored glasses. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know. I love the Attitude Era. I mean, one of the big. But going back and watching some of the episodes, I'm like, ooh, why? I mean, come on. This is the place where Mae Young gave birth to a hand. You know what I mean?
Oh God, yes. And took her top off during the Royal Rumble.
But the hand wasn't even mixed. It wasn't even a mixed hand. It's ridiculous.
Well, you know, I have to agree, though, with Mike, because a couple days ago, I was actually watching WrestleMania 19, the one that took place in Safeco Field. And I have to agree. The story there, the storyline was there. There wasn't the commercial BS that was involved. Yeah, you had the whole thing with the pillow fight or whatever the hell it was, you know, with the Coors Light girls or the Miller Light girls, whatever it was. But, you know, you had the storyline. You had the icon, you know, Mr. WrestleMania versus Chris Jericho, who idolized Shawn Michaels and then turns his back on him. You had the match. Granted, it is what it is. It was Hogan and Vince. But then you had a shocking appearance by Roddy Piper. You had the final in-ring match of Stone Cold Steve Austin. It all told stories. The in-ring itself told a story. And I have to agree. I can't even recall, honestly, the last time a match, well, maybe I can, that told a story in the ring. And the last time I can recall a match that you could close your eyes and sense the story being told was probably WrestleMania 25 between The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, the first time they faced at WrestleMania.
No, I think the last time that I saw a true WrestleMania show was Undertaker versus Triple H in a cell with Shawn Michaels as referee.
You mean that what should have been Taker's last match?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, you mean the end of an era match?
Yes, exactly. That told the story. That was a great story that was told. Amazing.
I think they both should have retired after that, because if it's the end of an era, they were the last two remnants of that era. They should have been done.
I agree. It was the best kind of send-off. They all three of them walking up the aisle. I don't think it was cheesy. I thought it was one of the greatest stories told.
Right, Shawn not knowing what to do, Shawn trying to help Triple H, but in the same turn telling The Undertaker to just stay down, telling Triple H, stop, he's not going to stay down. It told one of the best stories. You're right, KJ. That's I stand corrected. That is the last time I've actually seen anything done like that.
And I will say that watching WrestleMania 15 also did bring me to reality on one thing in particular. And that was Sable sucked ass.
Oh my God, thank you. She's not sexy. She's a horrible
Listen, we're not talking about her. We're not talking about her personal sex life here.
She was terrible. She was
all these guys horrible. On the microphone, she came out and she was grinding the air and asking if you were ready for the grind, and I'm like, you look horrible. You know, I was 14, 15 when this came out, and I thought she was like the most beautiful woman in the world, and I'm looking at her now, and I'm like, oh my God, you look like somebody's mother.
And it's funny because I can actually remember every year like what WrestleMania it is, because I was literally born the same year as WrestleMania, and I'm actually 2 months older than it, so that's how I know exactly what WrestleMania is what.
Wow.
But I'm looking, and I'm seeing she faces Tori, and not Tori Wilson, just Tori, a woman that I had to go and Google because I couldn't remember who the hell she was. And then when I Googled her, yes. And when I Googled her, I still didn't remember who the fuck she was. And there was a reason for it, because as bad as Sable was, Tori was 10 times worse. And she was saved by Nicole Bass, of all people. God rest her soul. Rest in peace, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
But Sable is... And I'm thinking, this is what passed as women's wrestling back then. It has definitely come a long, long way.
But you also had the innovators like Trish and like Lita.
They weren't there.
Since then, right?
But they weren't there.
That's what came along after. Actually, no. Lita was there, but Lita wasn't there. Lita was there, but she was with the Hardy Boys. You know what I mean? She wasn't necessarily
she wasn't wrestling.
An in-ring competitor. Right. She wasn't an in-ring competitor that we know her as.
Right. I mean, but you know, Jacqueline was there, and she was a wrestler. She was an in-ring competitor. She was 10 times the wrestler that Sable ever was. And Victoria was the same way. You know, Chyna was still kicking around at that time. I think her and Trips were back together in kayfabe and in real life. I think that's before he started his conquest of the Valley of McMahon.
Right, that was back when DX was still running strong.
Actually, I think it was actually that where they had gotten back together, and then Triple H and Chyna joined the corporation, turning their backs on the New Age Outlaws at X-Pac.
Really? That was a year after Michaels left?
Yep.
No.
Michaels was the commissioner because he had that on-screen role as commissioner because he's the one that came down and told Vince he couldn't name himself as the special guest referee because the rule book stated that only he could.
Right,
and then
for some reason I thought Triple H joined the corporation like in 2000.
Well, WrestleMania 99, what was that? 99 would have been 15. I think it was 1999. So it was WrestleMania.
That was the year when DX started running strong and everything like that, and they were in their first year of a full-fledged DX army because that's when they started doing the Invasion, the WCW, and so on and so forth within that first year. Because Michaels left in '98 because he left right after WrestleMania 14 because I remember that specifically.
But he was still an on-air talent. He just wasn't wrestling. Right. But that was when they turned their back on X-Pac and the New Age Outlaws, joined the corporation, and started that whole storyline that eventually led to Stephanie and Triple H. You know,
that was Shane versus X-Pac, I believe, at WrestleMania for the European Championship.
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
All right, so if we get about 7 minutes left, guys, you want to put your thoughts in on the Fastlane coming up, your predictions for the matches?
What are the matches?
Yeah, what are the matches, Chris?
I tell you what, here's what I'll do. I'll call off a match, and I'll hit each one of you up individually. Just give me a winner for it. We don't have to go like any kind of full-fledged stories or anything, but just give me a winner, and we'll go from there when it's all done.
Yeah, we only got 6 minutes, so let's go fast.
Yeah, about 6.5 here. We got the Club versus Enzo and Cass. Ray, who do you got?
Club. They're not going to take them off, and they're not going to take it off the Club that quick.
All right, so you're going with Club. Chuck.
I'll go Club because I think that the titles will go to Enzo and Cass at WrestleMania.
All right, Mike.
The New Day, fuck them both.
I knew that was coming. I just knew he was going to say something like that.
Gee, what is why didn't you just pass over? Jeez.
Yeah, just say pass. Fuck it.
I want to go with the Club as well, just because I think I'm siding with Chuck on this story here. They're going to make it a feel-good moment for WrestleMania for Enzo and Cass, and then I don't think they have them that long after that, really, to be honest with you. Bayley versus Charlotte.
In Orlando.
Yeah. Bayley versus Charlotte, Ray.
I don't even want to say it. Charlotte.
You know, yeah. Chuck.
It's Charlotte, but they're gonna keep that whole thing going, her streak.
All right, Mike.
So, yeah.
Charlotte.
Yeah, but I got Charlotte as well. That whole unbeaten at pay-per-views thing. Neville versus Jack Gallagher. Ray.
Neville. They're setting up for Aries.
All right, so we got Neville. Chuck.
Unfortunately, Neville, I would love to see Gallagher, because I love Gallagher take it, but yeah.
Yep. Mike. Mike.
I think that's Mike. I think that's Mike passing.
The magnificent flying forehead.
So Mike passes. Okay, I'm going to go with Neville as well.
I think that's him saying Neville because Neville's got a big forehead.
Does he fly with the forehead? I don't know. I mean,
it's all forehead.
So you're going with Neville as well. I think Gallagher's just too comedic to have the belt at this point. So definitely Neville.
Right.
We got Reigns versus Strowman. Ray.
Ugh. If it does count, oh Jesus. It's gonna unfortunately, it's gonna be Reigns. They're gonna try to make him strong for Taker at Mania.
All right, Chuck.
Actually, no, wait. I'm sorry. I want to change that. It's going to be Strowman. Undertaker's going to show up and cause some kind of interference.
All right, you're going with Strowman with Undertaker causing interference.
Yep.
Chuck.
I like the way he's thinking, but unfortunately, it's very rare for Undertaker to do any interference, unless it's got to be something major. I don't think, like, him and Brock Lesnar, that's something major. Him and Reigns, not really. So I'm going to go with Reigns to show, the original, to show, a strong showing for Undertaker.
Mike, if you say Big E, I'm going to cut you off.
Beef.
Beef.
Beef. I'm going with no contest. I say it's no contest because I don't think they want to make either one of them look bad at this moment.
I'm changing my answer. I'm going with Mike's answer. There you go.
You're going with all right. So we got 3 people going beef, 1 with interference, 2 just saying beef wins. I say no contest. So we got the last one here, KO versus Goldberg to the Ray here. What you got?
Goldberg squash.
Goldberg squash. Chuck?
I used to think this was so clear. Now I don't, to be quite honest. But I'm going to go against my instinct. If something tells me something's going to happen, and I'll do it. I'll go with what Ray said. I just think, it's going to happen. Stupid. Just never mind. I won't talk about it now.
Mike? I believe Mike's saying he's got Goldberg there in the title. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go against all 3 of you here. I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna say KO wins, and I'm gonna say it only because I saw something online earlier that's supposed to be a predicted WrestleMania lineup.
I saw that too. Peter. That's what I saw, and I saw who's going to be champ and who's not.
I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go because it sounds good. I'm going to go with that. Lesnar caused your original prediction of Lesnar causing interference, caused him to lose that match. They have a grudge match at WrestleMania, and we have KO versus Chris Jericho at WrestleMania for that title.
Well,
and whether Jericho wins or not.
Jericho versus Sami Zayn as well, because that match was leaked.
I don't know. I didn't see Zayn in there. I saw Zayn versus
Joe?
It was Zayn, Samoa Joe, and somebody else in a triple threat match at WrestleMania. It said.
If Sami Zayn's involved, I don't care. Fuck Sami Zayn.
I know.
That's Mike's favorite person.
Genera,
hey,
so.
Anybody who wants to get Mike a present for his birthday would just pass, last week or something. You can send him anything Sami Zayn because he loves it. He collects it. Everybody, please send that.
Mike,
I gotta have something to wipe my ass with.
Mike, if there's a burning pile of poop on your doorstep, I swear I didn't do it.
I know,
and the bag's gonna have his Sharpie Sami Zayn on it. So anyway, we're under 60 seconds, guys. We gotta go ahead and wrap it up. We gotta go ahead and go again. Ray, thanks for calling again this week. Thanks.
No
to Tim
problem. Real quick, can I add something real quick?
Huh? Yeah.
The Charlotte match, if Charlotte does win, it's going to be based via disqualification, I think.
That could be. That could be something. Sasha might put her 2 cents in one more time and cause that her to win, but she don't get the belt at that point. But
the other flying forehead?
Exactly, yes, that was coming as well. All right, we'll talk more about the flying foreheads next week when we do our recap of Fastlane next Sunday. So, for all that's listening, thanks for listening to us. We'll see you all again next week when we do our recap of Fastlane. Until then, we'll see you guys later.